Hi bachcho, Eid Mubarak to everyone. Happy Eid Mubarak to all my nears and dears. In the previous classes, I have completed the topic of acids, I have completed the topic of bases, and in the last recently held lecture, I completed the topics of types of salts. Now today, based on those types of salts, I will be giving you some questions. You can give me the answer of those questions in the comment boxes. On the basis of those questions, you can see how you are able to understand those questions. Okay, the question is like this. So everyone note down the question. Oh, हर एक बच्चा एक क्वेश्चन लिखेगा. Question is like this. On one side, I will give you the name of the salts. First one, it is normal salt. Second one, it is acidic salt. Third one, it will be double salt. Fourth one, it will be complex salt. Fifth one, it will be mixed salt. ओ देखो, इस साइड से मैंने साल्ट के टाइप्स के नाम लिखे हैं. On the other side, I will give you the names of the salts. And what you have to do? Listen, firstly, I will write the name of the salts. First one, I will write here sodium sulfate. It is sodium sulfate. Second one, I will write here alum. Third one, I will write sodium hydrogen sulfate. Fourth one, I will write down sodium potassium sulfate. Sodium potassium sulfate. And last one, I will write here, it is sodium zincate. This is the question. Five types, the names of 5 types of salts are given on one side. On the other side, I have given you the examples of those salts. You have to tell me the answer of these questions. Like you have to tell me which among these is the normal salt, which among these is the acidic salt, which among them is the complex salt. And the answer of these questions you have to tell me in the comment box. Okay, on that basis you can see my previous lecture again and you will be easily able to answer those questions. Okay, till now the topic of types of salts is completed. Now today what I am going to talk about is the solubility of salts. So our next topic here will be solubility of salts. So you give the heading solubility. When we are talking about this solubility topic, there are different rules for the solubility of salts. I will be going to tell you these rules one by one, and along with the rules I will be going to tell you examples also. So the rule number one जो है वो ऐसा है कि all salts, जो भी साल्ट्स है सोडियम के, जो भी साल्ट है पोटेशियम का, जो भी साल्ट है अमोनियम का, they all are soluble in nature. मतलब ये हुआ कि जो भी साल्ट होगा सोडियम का, Na मीन्स सोडियम, जो भी साल्ट होगा पोटेशियम का, K मीन्स पोटेशियम, जो भी साल्ट होगा अमोनियम का, वो सभी के सभी साल्ट सॉल्युबल हो गए। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर मैं यहां पे कोई एग्जाम्पल लूंगा, Na2SO4, this is sodium sulfate, this is the salt of sodium, so it is soluble. Similarly, if I will take another example, K2CO3, this is the salt, this is the carbonate salt of potassium. Every salt of the potassium will be soluble. Here I took the example of the carbonate salt, but it is big, but it is the salt of potassium, so it is also soluble in nature. Similarly, if I will take another example of this ammonium, NH4 twice SO4, NH4SO4, ammonium sulfate, this is also a soluble salt. Why these are all soluble salts? Because there is a rule, whatever salts we are having of the sodium or potassium or ammonium, they all are soluble in nature. This is the first rule. Now the rule number second. Rule number second is all carbonate salts are soluble. मतलब ये हुआ all carbonate salts are soluble, यानी जो भी कार्बोनेट साल्ट्स होंगे वो सॉल्युबल होंगे। क्या होंगे? सॉल्युबल। नाउ फर्स्टली वी विल सी हियर ऑल क्लोराइड साल्ट्स, जो भी क्लोराइड साल्ट्स होंगे वो सॉल्युबल होंगे। मतलब जो भी क्लोराइड के साल्ट्स होंगे वो सॉल्युबल होंगे। फॉर एग्जाम्पल FeCl2, आयरन क्लोराइड, इट इज सॉल्युबल। कॉपर क्लोराइड, इट इज ऑल्सो सॉल्युबल इन नेचर। बट chemistry is full of exceptions. You have to every time remember the exceptions. There are exceptions in case of chloride. Exception number 1 is PbCl2. Oh, what is this? ये PbCl2 क्या है? This PbCl2 is lead chloride. Similarly, AuCl2, Au means gold, it is gold chloride. And another one, no, AgCl2, it is silver chloride. Another example is there, Ag2Cl2, it is mercury chloride. Lead chloride, silver chloride, mercury chloride, these are three types of salts, but they are chloride salts. These three salts are insoluble. The rule number second is all chloride salts are soluble, but there are these three exceptions. These three exceptions are lead chloride, this silver chloride and mercury chloride. They are insoluble in nature. So you have to remember these exceptions. They are insoluble in nature. Okay. After that, the rule number second, we will be going for the rule number second. The rule number third is all sulfate salts are soluble in nature. मतलब जो भी सल्फेट के साल्ट्स होंगे वो सभी के सभी soluble है. If I will take an example of sulfate salt, sulfate is SO4, SO4 2 negative, FeSO4, this is one example. This is iron sulfate एक सल्फेट साल्ट है. These are soluble in water. Another example, if I will take Na2SO4, this is sodium sulfate, this is also soluble in water. Another example, K2SO4, this is also soluble in water. Since these sulfate salts are soluble, there are some exceptions. You have to remember these exceptions. Exception number 1 is PbSO4. Lead sulfate, it is insoluble in water. Barium sulfate, it is BaSO4, it is insoluble in water. Another example of insoluble salt is Al2SO4 whole thrice. This is aluminum sulfate. This is aluminum sulfate. This is also insoluble in nature. मतलब जो भी सल्फेट के साल्ट्स होते हैं वो सभी के सभी सॉल्युबल होते हैं. I gave the examples of iron sulfate, sodium sulfate, and the another example is potassium sulfate. But there are some exceptions in case of the sulfates. Sulfate में जो थोड़े कुछ एक्सेप्शंस है वो आपको याद करने पड़ेंगे. पहली जो एक्सेप्शन है वो लेड सल्फेट है, दूसरी एक्सेप्शन है बेरियम सल्फेट और तीसरी एक्सेप्शन है एल्युमिनियम सल्फेट. So till now I gave 3 rules for the solubility. First one, it was all salts up. जो भी salts है सोडियम, पोटेशियम या अमोनियम के, वो सभी के सभी salts क्या होते हैं? वो सभी के सभी सल्फेट, वो सभी के सभी salts soluble होते हैं. Second rule was all chloride salts. जो भी क्लोराइड के salts होते हैं वो सभी के सभी soluble होते हैं. I gave the exceptions there. There were 3 exceptions. You have to remember these. The 3 exceptions are lead chloride, this silver chloride, third exception was mercury chloride. Similarly, the third rule was जो भी सल्फेट के salts होते हैं वो सभी के सभी soluble होते हैं. I gave the examples iron sulfate, sodium sulfate and potassium sulfate. There are 3 exceptions again. The three exceptions of the sulfates are lead sulfate, barium sulfate and aluminum sulfate. Okay, till now we are done with 3 types of these solubility rules. Now the 4th rule I will be going to talk about is about the nitrate salts, nitrate and nitrites. So the 4th rule, you note down 4th rule, all nitrate and nitrites are soluble. मतलब ये हुआ जो भी नाइट्रेट साल्ट, नाइट्रेट मीन्स NO3 नेगेटिव, नाइट्राइट मीन्स NO2 नेगेटिव. जो भी नाइट्रेट के साल्ट्स होंगे या नाइट्राइट के साल्ट्स होंगे वो सभी के सभी सॉल्युबल होते हैं. एग्जाम्पल मैं यहां पे दे रहा हूं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल सोडियम NaNO3, दिस इज सोडियम नाइट्रेट, this is soluble. Another example, it is PbNO3, it is lead nitrate, this is lead nitrate, this is sodium nitrate. These all salts are soluble in water. If you will go back into the lecture of bases, when I was going through the preparation of the salts, at that time I mentioned all nitrate salts are soluble. You go for the recap of the lecture of bases, and in the bases I have mentioned there in the preparation of bases, where I was preparing the insoluble salts, there I told that all nitrate salts are soluble in nature. Similarly, all nitrate salts or nitrite salts are soluble in water. But what you have to remember here, there is no exception at all. No exception. Oh, remember this, that there is no exception at all. मतलब ये हुआ कि जो भी नाइट्रेट का कोई साल्ट होगा या नाइट्राइट का जो भी साल्ट होगा वो सभी के सभी सॉल्युबल होते हैं. Okay? Another point we are going to mention here, the 5th rule. This was the rule number 4. Now we are going to discuss 5th rule. 5th rule is all carbonates. मतलब जो भी कार्बोनेट्स होंगे, जो भी बाइकार्बोनेट्स होंगे, जो भी बाइकार्बोनेट्स होंगे, जो भी सल्फाइड्स होंगे, जो भी सल्फाइड, जो भी सल्फाइट, इट इज सल्फाइड, इट इज सल्फाइड। जो भी कार्बोनेट, जो भी बाइकार्बोनेट, जो भी सल्फाइड, जो भी सल्फाइड साल्ट्स होंगे वो सभी के सभी इंसॉल्युबल होते हैं। ओ क्या होते हैं? वो इंसॉल्युबल होते हैं। Carbonate means CO3 2 negative. Bicarbonate means HCO3 negative. This sulfite is SO3 2 negative. SO3 2 negative. Sulfide is S2 negative. मतलब जो भी कार्बोनेट साल्ट होगा, जो भी बाइकार्बोनेट साल्ट होगा, जो भी सल्फाइड साल्ट होगा, जो भी सल्फाइड साल्ट हो, सल्फाइड या सल्फाइड साल्ट होंगे वो सभी के सभी इनसॉल्युबल होते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ आई विल टेक एनी एग्जांपल ऑफ कार्बोनेट, सोडियम कार्बोनेट Na2, 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 CO3. This is carbonate salt. This is carbonate. This is carbonate. If I will, this is carbonate salt. But it will be soluble. Why it is soluble? I will tell you in the next lecture. I will give you here example of the carbonate salt ZnCO3. ZnCO3. It is carbonate salt. This is insoluble. Similarly, if I will take another example of bicarbonate, sulfide or sulfide, they all will be insoluble in nature. Now, I will give you one question here. I will see whether you will be able to give me an answer at end. Listen, what is the question? I was trying to give answer here, but now the same question I will tell to you. The question is like, you note down question, this is very important. Is potassium carbonate soluble or insoluble? क्या पोटेशियम कार्बोनेट सॉल्युबल साल्ट है कि इनसॉल्युबल साल्ट है? आप रोल नंबर 5 पे जाइए। मैंने वहां पे क्या बोला? मैंने वहां पे बोला कार्बोनेट साल्ट जो भी होगा, कार्बोनेट मीन्स CO3 जहां पे होगा वो साल्ट्स इनसॉल्युबल होंगे। क्या होंगे? इनसॉल्युबल साल्ट। सो आपका क्या आंसर रहेगा? आपका आंसर यही होगा कि ये चूंकि कार्बोनेट साल्ट हैं ये तो इनसॉल्युबल होगा। मगर रूल नंबर 1 था, रूल नंबर 1 मैंने बोला जो भी पोटेशियम, जो भी सोडियम, जो भी अमोनियम का साल्ट होगा वो साल्ट सॉल्युबल होंगे। क्योंकि यहाँ पे पोटेशियम का ये साल्ट है, वेदर इट इज कार्बोनेट और एनीथिंग एल्स, सल्फेट, क्लोराइड और एनीथिंग एल्स, when it is the salt of potassium, at that time it is soluble. So this salt will be soluble whenever there is a carbonate salt and it is associated with sodium, potassium or ammonium. At that time the rule 1 is preferred over the others. So what will be the answer? This salt is soluble in nature. This was all about the solubility of the salts. Now in the next lecture I will be going to talk about the preparation of the salts. Till then, bye bye. Thank you.